Good day. My name is Hopewell Chingono. I'm a journalist, documentary filmmaker, and anti-corruption activist. Today I want to talk about the problem that the capital city of Zimbabwe, Harare, is facing in regards to water. Harare's main source of water is Lake Chivero, which was renamed after independence. It was built in 1952 as Lake Makulwen, and it was meant to service a population of 161,000 people in Harare. Today, it services a population of over 3 million people in Harare, Chitungwiza, Rua, and Epworth. The biggest problem that we face with Lake Chivero is that it is downstream, which means the capital city is at the top and the lake is at the bottom. So it absorbs all the rubbish that is washed down from the top, going down, all the sewage that comes through the rivers like Manyame, that feed into the lake, all the industrial rubbish that is being washed down. Because of that, it is expensive for the city of Harare to clean water, which has to be pumped upstream through the Morton Jeffrey waterworks. This means that there is a lot of chemicals that are needed to clean water before it gets into our taps in Harare. Most of us do not get water. I haven't had water in my home since 2003. I rely on a borehole like many people do these days. The government of Zimbabwe has failed to discharge its duties in regards to water. The Water Act, the law in Zimbabwe, says that the government of Zimbabwe, the central government, which is the ZANU PF government, is supposed to provide water sources like Lake Chivero. It was supposed to have built a dam in 1996 called Kunji. The money for this dam was looted. It is the government, according to our law, according to our Water Act, that is supposed to provide a viable water source. Lake Chivero is no longer a viable water source because of the things that I've just said. So today, Harare City Council is faced with a big problem of a lake that was built in 1952, meant for 161,000 people at the time, and today it is meant to supply water to over 3 million people. Now, government has resorted to propaganda, arguing that the city of Harare has failed the citizens living in its capital city. But the fact of the matter is the city council cannot do much without a viable water source. The good thing about having Kunji Dam is that Kunji Dam is upstream. So the amount of chemicals that are needed to clean water coming from Kunji Dam is very minimal. And it means the city does not have to spend a lot of money buying chemicals, something that was also rooted and used as a patronage system by ZANU PF. The companies that were meant to supply these chemicals were prescribed by ZANU PF, by the local government ministers that have been running the local government ministry for a very long time, including the current one, July Moyo. Now let us look at the numbers. Harare City Council requires over $4 million every month to buy chemicals to clean the water coming out of Chivero because of the dirty that it carries, the industrial waste, the raw sewage, and all manner of dirty stuff that would have been thrown into it by the rivers that bring the water into the lake. This $3 million is used to clean this water at Morton Jeffrey Works. Morton Jeffrey Works was built over 65 years ago. And as I said, it was meant for 161,000 people. Today, the city has got over 3 million people. It is pumping 300 megaliters a day. The system is meant to pump 200 megaliters a day, which means that it's being overloaded by over 44%. Now, the reason why people in Harare do not have water in their homes is very political. I've explained that the city spends over $4 million a month to clean the water coming from Lake Chivero. It would have spent less if the water was coming from Kunji Dam, which the government has failed to build for over 43 years, although it was on the plan of the colonials when we got our independence. The reason why we do not have water is because a lot of ZANU PF political elites have made a lot of money through supplying chemicals meant to clean water from Lake Chivero. Local government ministry controls all city councils. It tells them where to buy the chemicals. And invariably, most of the people that are supplying these chemicals have got direct links to the ruling party, ZANU PF. The problem is not only about the links that they have to ZANU PF. The main problem is that they inflate the prices for these chemicals. Let's look at what happened in Jeffrey Motorworks. Current local government minister July Moyo instructed Harare City Council that it would buy the new pumps for Jeffrey Motorworks from his friend Paul Kruger. The pumps that were supplied ordinarily would have cost $2 million US. Paul Kruger billed $10 million US, which means that $8 million US was looted. This is money that would have been used for other things by the city council, but it was not able to do that. The money was looted. The same local government minister July Moyo ordered Victoria Falls Council to buy pumps for $3.5 million from Paul Kruger, his friend again, pumps that would have been bought for $1.2 to $1.5 million. So this is what I mean when I say that the water crisis in Zimbabwe is political. There is a battle of sorts. ZANU PF wants to use the water system to loot public funds, whilst the opposition is not able to buy things where they are cheap, where they are fairly priced, because it has no control at all. Now, we've talked about the problems. We now need to talk about the solutions. The first solution is for the government of Zimbabwe to adhere to the Constitution, the Water Act. It must build Kunzu Dam. As I said earlier, Kunzu Dam will make it much easier for the Harare City Council not to spend a lot of money, because the water will be coming from upstream. There is less pollution in water coming from upstream than water coming from downstream. The second thing is that there should be no political interference in water management. The government, through ZINWA, owns the water sources. It owns Lake Chivero. It will own Kunzu Dam. So it should not interfere in the professional management of water sources. In the past, it has interfered because of corruption. It wants to control who provides the chemicals. It wants to control where the pumps are bought. It wants to control everything, but not for the good of the nation or the good of the city, but to line the pockets of a few powerful ZANU PF political elites. The third thing is that there must be an infrastructure upgrade in Harare. The system that we are using dates back to the 1950s. It has never been properly upgraded since independence. Public funds were being looted that were meant to upgrade this infrastructure system. We've got a lot of water leaks. Over 30 to 40% of water that is pumped from Morton Jeffrey is being lost. All that energy that is pumping it is going out there for nothing. The money that would have used to clean the water going down the drain. So we need to fix that problem of infrastructure upgrades. Finally, need to look at the economy. It doesn't make sense for Harare City to spend 50 cents on a cubic meter of water and then the consumer pays 5 cents. We are paying for our water in RTGS, and yet the chemicals are being bought in US dollars. The government then turns around and blames the city council, and yet it is the same government that has messed up the economy. It does not allow Harare City Council to charge its water in US dollars, and yet it expects Harare City Council to pay for chemicals in US dollars. That is not sustainable. The opposition party, CCC, that runs councils across the country, needs to articulate these issues properly to the citizens so that they understand them. A lot of our citizens don't even understand who is responsible for providing the dam. They've been thrown into the propaganda of ZANU PF that it is the city council that needs to do everything. No, the city council's job is simply to distribute water that would have been supplied by a water source built by the government. So our government needs to fix the economy so that people can pay for their water on a fair rate, and that the city council can then take that money and go and buy whatever is needed for our water to continuously flow in our taps, something that has not happened for decades. I hope you can share this video so that others can also learn